Hi guys, it's Andy from Motorbike Tuono. Just showing you our Aprilia Tuono 1100 RR. Not the factory, as what most reviews are, but yeah, I thought we'd show you this bike. It's coming up to 2.5 years old now, 2017 model. Been a great bike. My brother changed from a KTM SMT 990 to this. After basically hearing the acro system on it and falling in love with it. Never even tested the bike, but he's been absolutely chuffed to bits with it. It's been a great bike. He's used it on quite a few track days, general riding. We've been to Spain and Portugal. It's been around the Alps. It's good for luggage actually. The RR's a lot better than the factory for luggage, which I'll come to in a moment. So, bought it from the guys at SP Motorcycles in Exeter. It's who we always use. I know I bigged them up last time, but I'll always do that. They're a great bunch down there. We get great service. This was a brilliant price. Well, brilliant as motorbikes go. Yeah, it was about 11.5 grand with the acro system on it, and it also has the race map included in that. So there's the can, titanium link pipe. It takes the cat off it. Also with the carbon hanger to get rid of the pillion pegs. Yeah, what extras have we put on it? So the screen on the standard one was a bit crappy, it's a bit low. So just for a bit more protection, I'll say protection, it's a naked. But you can get tucked behind it and do some silly speeds, obviously, on track. Yeah, so that's a power bronze screen, probably the best one to go for. Popped on some ASV levers there. This is the uprated model from the first 1100. So it's got the digital dash, it's got quick shifter, blipper, and an uprated electronics suite. Put on that was a bit of a pain. Did a Givey tank ring so we can pop a tank bag on when we go away. But Aprilia don't have screws around here. So we had to buy a second-hand one off eBay, second-hand tank ring, and drill it out from the other side so a tank lock fitted. But it works well. Underneath we've got RNG crash bungs. Under here we've got a USB out, that was for the Optimate lead. But if you can just see here, that little bar there is where a Ventura rack goes on. So we don't actually use the whole Ventura system, we just use the rack. We've got my brother's got a nice 35 litre Givey bag that straps on really well, and you can't feel it, it doesn't dig into your back. And that and a small tank bag is easy, good enough for 10 days, 2 weeks away. Obviously depending on how much stuff you want to go away, but these are nakeds, and we like to tour on nakeds. They're a good option, they're comfy, you can cruise quite happily 80, 90 mile an hour upwards on the motorways, no probs, and you can do 400-500 miles a day. So we always travel as light as possible. Yeah, it's been a absolutely great bike this. The quick shifter blipper especially is so silky smooth on it. Now, top likes, should I say. Again, quick shifter, blipper, so smooth. The electronics package is incredible. You really can only tell on track, but you have the thumb plus and minus on the other side, and you can go up and down with your traction control. Now most people would think, oh, that's a load of nonsense, but actually on track it works really well. You can have it quite high first thing in the morning just to get your eye in, and then when it's holding you back a little bit, you can minus that off, and you can go all the way down to one being hardly anything on, and it's so smooth. It makes track riding and fast riding so much safer because it has your back all the time. Now, a lot of people go for the factory. I think the factory is the one that's always reviewed, but actually the factory is not that much different. The engine's the same in the RR, all the electronics are the same. The only thing that's different is the suspension on the factory now. The newest one, 2020, is electronic Öhlins. This one's Sachs. But we had it set up from a guy called Steve Whittier, who works at Hell Brake Lines. He does their race team, and it's so much better. It was so much more controlled on the track. It's in a sporty setting, should we say, but it's certainly not uncomfortable on the road. It's fantastic. People, I think, look at Öhlins and look at the bling and factor and think, that's it, I've got to have that. But to be quite honest, this is a really good system. He actually said the previous one is not that much difference. The Öhlins isn't actually, it's an OE Öhlins, so it's not the proper one. So he said the Sachs one is nearly as good. So don't be put off by that. Also, this being the RR is a bit more understated. I know it is what it is. It's a super naked, but around here, I think because of SP motorcycles, there's a lot of factories. It's quite nice to see an RR. I think they are just a bit more subtle. So second on this, the grim factor. I mean, it's a brilliant bike to ride. It handles beautifully. It's all about that engine. You cannot beat a V4. It's so smooth. It's smooth on the motorway. It doesn't feel like an inline. It's silky smooth. It doesn't buzz like an inline. It feels more like a twin when you're cruising, but you have, again, massive torque and big revs as well. The riding position. I know my brother's had quite a few bikes over the years. Last one was an SMT 990. He actually found that quite uncomfortable. I think it was the way his shoulders were in it, the way he sat on it. But this, he actually finds probably the most comfortable bike he's ever had. He's more than happy to ride all day, never aches. Yeah, I bet you could say the seat to peg ratio is quite high, but it's not ridiculously, certainly not like the RSV. It is a comfy bike. Handles beautifully. It really does feel planted. Out of all the nakeds, I think the Tuono for me is the best on track. I've ridden Super Duke, the MT10 I had for a couple of years, Speed Triple RS, which I had last year. This probably handles the best on the track. I think you feel more of an aggressive riding position, more in control of it. Dislikes. Well, being a V4, the cost of the valve clearances, that's always going to be high. We know you've got to know that. You've got to know what you're buying when you get a bike like this. But it's just the valve clearance one. There's a lot of work to be done. That's another thing. Working on this bike, you realise how compact it is. You take the seat off, there is no room under it. It is a compact motor, so obviously it's quite difficult to get to. A lot of hours work. Another one, you can't run heated gear, or you shouldn't run heated gear. The alternator's not big enough on these, and I think personally Aprilia should have done that. This is a road bike. It's quite nice to run heated grips or some power outlets. I know we have actually put a power outlet on it, which is just down here, little USB. I don't know if you can see that, just under there. But again, Aprilia do say you shouldn't really put a lot of extras on this because the alternator doesn't like it. Being a naked, you are in the elements, so it's not the best all-year bike. It's also Italian, so you've got to look after it. But apart from that, it's a naked. Fuel consumption, yeah, the V4 likes a drink. Let's leave it at that. But you've got to have, you've got to lob fuel in it to use the engine. Another pointless thing that Aprilia have done. So they leave off things like heated grips, which most bikes do have now. It does have cruise control, but it also has a pit limiter. I mean, really? I don't think you're ever going to use a pit limiter on the road. We certainly haven't used it on the track either. What's gone wrong? Well, not much really. I mean, I don't think I've had a single bike that something hasn't gone wrong on it. The indicator, the switchgear, it was stuck. SP replaced that, no problems. So yeah, popped a new one in there. The forks as well. We were away in Italy. We were away in Portugal, and the fork seal started leaking. We actually found out it was a nick in the tube. Now it looked like a manufacturing fault. This is after probably about 3,000 or 4,000 miles at least he'd done on it. But it was no problem. SP put a warranty claim in, and a whole new fork leg came, which was great. So that was popped on. Not had a problem since then. Would I buy another one? Well, definitely. I think this has been definitely one of the best bikes my brother's ever had. I wouldn't hesitate to have one myself. I think, yeah, people will always say about, Aprilia's being unreliable. And yeah, I know there's some people probably will watch this and go, mine was a nightmare. But I've had it with BMWs. I've certainly had it with a Ducati. I've had it with pretty much every bike. You either buy a Monday bike or a Friday afternoon bike. And this has been brilliant. It really, really has. It's been ultra reliable. What I'd like to see on a new one? Well, it would have to be fuel gauge. It's a bit silly now that they still don't have a fuel gauge. I mean, it's not a massive problem at all. You just zero it at trip when you put the fuel in. You know that you're good to go for 100 or so miles. What you don't want to do is go onto fuel light and run it over 15 miles. You will run out. It's happened to us. So when it was new, it came with Pirelli Rosso 3 tyres, which is an all-round sporty tyre. I had them on my MT10. I also had them on my Speed Triple RS. Great road tyre. Used them on track a couple of times, and they were very good. Only starting to slide and lose a bit of traction at the end of the day, but most of the days we did were very hot days. So now we've got on Rosso Corsa 2s. You can just see the 2 there. This has done quite a few. Well, what's this done? 3 track days, and probably about 1,500, 2,000 miles road miles. I'll show you the rear as well. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of life left in them. They grip really well on the track. I mean, as a group, we're hardly what you call Marquez on the track, but they do grip really well. This was a particularly hot day at Silverstone last year. What was it? Christ, about 37 degrees. And apart from the end of the day, they were sliding a bit, but nothing bad. Plenty of wear. If you haven't done many track days, the Rosso Corsa 2 I can thoroughly recommend on this bike, or on any nakeds really, as a confidence inspiring tyre. Let's start her up so you can listen to her. There's the dash, like a Christmas tree. So what have we done now? 7,332 miles. Not done loads, but we didn't go away last year. My mum had been ill, so we decided not to. This year we were meant to be going away in a couple of weeks, but that's kicked into touch. So listen to this. Anyway, guys, yeah, thanks for watching. We'll try and put some reviews up in these strange times. I'll try and get some other bikes, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave some comments below. Cheerio!